Yeah, we rise, we shine, feel the groove inside. Life's a beautiful ride, let's feel it, no need to hide. What you completely forgot, now you remember. The spark in your soul left unattended, sweet ember. Who you are and why you came, it's etched in your heart. Not just to play a role, but to claim your part. This journey's divine with rhythms and flows, dancing through the shadows, let that light expose. All the joy is starts flowing for no reason at all. Can you feel the sweetness rise like the morning call? Shake the world off your shoulders. It's time to reclaim. Breathe deep and let it echo. You're more than your name. We are alive. Feel the rhythm make you whole. Every heartbeat's a blessing. Let it echo in your soul. All is well, it's the magic of this life. Stand up, rise high, break free from the strife. Awaken your flame, let it shine so bright. We are love, we are light. All is well tonight. All is well tonight. Now the joy bursts open like blossoms in spring. With every step you take, hear the universe sing. Healing in the way we connect through the sound. Take a moment, feel alive, let your spirit unbound. You were born for this, don't you forget. Life's a canvas painted with no regrets. So red, let the past fade like a memory. You're a star in the making. Break your own life. Faith is the rhythm, and love is the groove. Come together, lift each other. We have nothing to prove. We are alive. Feel the rhythm make you whole. Let it echo in your soul. All is well, it's the magic of this life. Stand up, rise high, break free from the strife. Awaken your flame, let it shine so bright. We are love, we are light. All is well tonight. What you forgot, now you remember. It's clear and it's true. Life's a treasure waiting, and the richest part is you. Awaken your flame and let it light the way with every single heartbeat. Let joy guide your day. Let joy guide your day. Let joy guide your day. Let joy guide your day.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. My name is Timian, and I'm here answering questions and making comment. So, let's have a look and see what we've got. Daria has a question. Write your question, Daria. How to get rid of all doubt and trauma from ourselves. Well, the good news about that, Daria, is this. Some people think that the way to get rid of your trauma and, what was it you called it? Doubt, is to look at each issue one by one. But you don't have to do that. And even if you could free yourself from trauma that way, that isn't how you arrive at your freedom. That isn't how you become your freedom. So how do you? It's an amazing thing. But we have a superpower that we don't know about. It's a very simple power, but its effect is so enormous that it has to be called, a superpower. And it is the simple ability to put things down. The trauma, the doubt, all the other aspects of the psychological self. It's like a hat that you're the subject. It's on top of you. You're the subject of it. And then finally you realize, wow, I can just take it off. And you take the whole thing off. And you put it down. And there you are. Free, unburdened in this moment, in this now. All of that stuff was from there then. It's not of this now. You can simply take it off. What you were subject to, you can turn into an object, the psychological self. Freedom from the matrix, freedom from illusion, is not found by dismantling the psychological self. That isn't the way you find it. Now, when you've taken it off and discovered that you are complete and whole, and that your trauma only went so deep and never actually reached you, the self, then if there's stuff that needs to be accepted, stuff that needs to be understood, it will present itself naturally. And because you're now have turned it into an object, it's much easier to deal with. But not so much needs to be dealt with that stuff anymore. It falls away. Because it turns out that in the absence of you knowing your true self, you created an identity. And an element of the identity that you created for yourself involved your trauma, your doubt, your psychological self. So it turns out that you are actually holding on to it because it gave you a sense of self. At least it was your trauma. At least it was your doubt. But once you find the self, you don't need to hold on to it for identity anymore. You can let it go because you found the self. And so it falls away. Some presents itself for your acceptance consciously, and most of it falls away. So the key is to go for the self and to recognize that you can just put it down. And to start with, you just put it down in a moment, for a moment, and experience yourself underneath that. And then after a while, it starts to pick up momentum. And you move away from that domain, those frequencies, that illusion. Where do we get to? So, Christina, I am the sky, not the storm. Yes, this is critical. This is absolutely critical. This realization and to take it further and to understand the nature of the sky. The sky does not evolve. The sky doesn't get wiser. The sky doesn't get older. The sky is equally everywhere. Without the sky, nothing would be. Nothing would have a place to be without the sky. The storm is your states of consciousness that fluctuate, your thoughts that are changeable, all the cells in your body that change, how you feel, your karma, your drama, all of that is weather, changeable. But you are the sky-like awareness. Brilliant. Lucy Pomodoro. What is coming in 2026? Is the end of our current Occidental civilization near? No. No, this is a propaganda. This is a deliberate attempt to frighten people into clinging tighter to ridiculous beliefs that allow them to be controlled by entities, people that do not have their best wishes at heart. Oh, what a great idea. Let's create a world war, an apocalypse, so that Jesus will come back sooner. Have you ever heard anything so stupid as that? We are generating here a new possibility. On the one hand, you've got the apocalyptic people. And really, the apocalypse and fear of the apocalypse is a manifestation of the collective subconscious death urge of humanity. They want it all to end. They want the subconscious death urge is the part of us that just doesn't care. We don't care. The subconscious death urge will, make you take the heroin even though you know it's going to kill you. Will make you do things that even though you know it's not good for you. It's the part that doesn't want life. It's anti-life. It's tired of change and uncertainty. Just wants out. Now, in most people, it shows up very little. But when you mass it all together, the collective subconscious death urge, then you come out with dramas like the apocalypse, the end, and everybody rushes towards it, thinking somehow, nonsensically, that it will all be better afterwards. Jesus will come. But in the other direction, there are people who are generating and opening up the possibility of another way for humanity being possible. That we've got a lot of good qualities. We love, we share, we care. Ordinary people everywhere. We don't actually need all that we've been fed. We don't need all that stuff. We don't need Netflix. We don't need Amazon. We don't need all this fast food. We don't need all of that shit. What we need is each other and peace. Another way is possible. And that's what's taking off in these times. We struggle because we forgot whom we are. We assume to be identities. Yeah, we forgot who we are. It's not that we will have identities. But that's an aspect of the avatar form that we inhabit when we play in this drama here in this dimension. But within us is the self. And waking up is waking up to the self, that reality. The self doesn't change. It doesn't grow. There's only one self throughout. And we are an aspect of it, a portal to it. Through us, it experiences uniquely. But not knowing that, we identify as the part we play. If speaking is your power, what are you without your voice? That's a supposition. That's not a question. That's not a question, is it? That's a supposition. Suppose that speaking was your power. What are you without your voice? I'm the same with my voice as I am without it. Who I am is not my voice. Who I am is not my power. Where do those questions come from? Because I get hundreds of them. If this, what, Why do people ask questions like that? Where do they come from? I'm sick of this place, beam me up. I'm sick of this place, beam me up. The thing is this, though, that the problem would be, Wi-Fi philosopher, is that if you got beamed up, right, somewhere, you would realize pretty soon you'd get sick of that place. Because what you're actually sick of is not the place. The place is empty. The place is empty. How you get the place that you're sick of is given by who you're being that it is. Your experience of it comes out of you, not it. If the experience of it came out of it, we'd all get it the same way, but we don't. In fact, everybody gets it differently all the time. Isn't that so? So by leaving the place, you wouldn't leave the misery. This is one of the things about suicide as well, is that you would take it with you because it's coming out of you, not out of the situation. I've said that 1,000 times since yesterday. I am the sky, not the storm. Yeah, riders on the storm. We ride straight through it by focusing on the signal that is the sky-like awareness within us. It's an absolute celebration. If you contemplate that, get it fully. When you really realize something for yourself, Christina, it will automatically and naturally alter your relationship to your thinking and the way that life occurs for you. That seeing, represented in those words, that's yours now. Get it fully and share it. It's very simple. Some people, that is the best news. People who are mentally ill, who've been in long-term storms, to be able to let them know that there's a part of them that hasn't been touched, that isn't touched by the storm. When there's thick fog, the sky doesn't lose its sheer clarity, does it? MJ. Good afternoon, Tracy. Good evening, Tim. Good evening. Even though I realize the true light, the golden key, still love my roots. Yeah, be free, enjoy. Calm, Sahil. What do you think the human race will evolve in connection with nature gaining abilities like air bending? I love that. I love that. What was his name? Who was the airbender? With the arrow on his forehead? Anyway, what do you think the human race will evolve? God knows, because, I mean, the self doesn't evolve. The true self doesn't evolve, right? So that'll always be what it is. But with technology, with the capacity to genetically alter stuff and epigenetics, turning on genes that are not on, and all kinds of other amazing breakthroughs that will come, it's quite possible. And of course, you know, transhuman stuff where we have bits of circuitry and machinery inside us implanted. Who knows? Anything is possible. Literally anything is possible. Hi mate, hope all is well. See how always you finish with a song? Would you begin with one too, says Flymo. I do. I begin with a song, Flymo, and I end with a song. Always. And the songs that I begin and end with are songs I've created with AI. Kristen Marie, I was going to follow until you start talking about negative people drama, says Kristen. Negative people drama? Okay, well, that's up to you. If you want to follow, follow. If you don't, don't. You know, I mean, I'm only talking about my perspective. I'm not saying my perspective is the right one, or the only one, or the ultimate truth. I'm just saying what I've got. You know, and I'm not out of the world. I'm in the world. I'm not ignoring the evil that is happening. The evil that we do to each other. I'm not ignoring that. I'm fighting against it. I'm standing against it. Not to stand against genocide, not to stand against that kind of evil, is to be complicit. In other words, you could have helped, but you didn't, which makes you part of the problem. So, you know, I do stand against it and protest against it and do what I can. So if that's the negative people drama you're talking about, well, okay. It's up to you. There was a story of the Buddha that the Buddha told, and it was about this mother who made this beautiful pudding called kheer. And kheer is the best rice with honey, cardamom, cinnamon, cashews, and I think raisins. And it's delicious with milk. It's absolutely delicious. But the son, the mother made a lot of trouble to make it. And the son, she gave it to the son. And the son said, I don't want it. And the mother said, why don't you want it? I made so much trouble. It's so expensive. This is everybody's favorite. She said, I don't want it. Why? I don't like the cardamoms. And so she said, well, it's okay. Eat everything else and leave the cardamoms. And the Buddha told this story referring to the Buddha Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha. He said, if something I say upsets you, then leave it out. Don't leave the whole pudding because you don't like cardamoms. And maybe it's relevant here, Kristen. Tool guide. I'm Manuel. Tool, guide, light and shadow. Kristen goes on, meditation shouldn't be about bringing up drama. Says who? I'm telling you what my experience is. You are welcome to tell people what your experience is. And you don't tell me what I should or shouldn't do on my live. Do you know what I mean? There isn't any way it should be. We're free. Calm. When do you think human race will evolve in connection with the nature gaining abilities like, yeah? You look forward to the launch. I like your come through development. Okay. It's so needed nowadays. Got to heal our nervous systems. Well, if that is so, the absolute best way of doing it is meditation. In meditation, everything realigns each time. Everything resets each time. Each time you become present, each time you step out of the waveform aspect of your existence and come into presence, you reset. Joy Zakadi, hi Joy. You're part of my daily routine now, Timian. I appreciate you so much. Thanks, Joy. I appreciate you being here and your questions. Pan. Are you God? You look like gods in human form. But we all do, don't we? Good evening. Guna Tube, Adonai Protection Group. Shabbat Shalom, brother. I don't know what that actually means. Trust God 777. Shalom means peace. Brother, I am. Shabbat, I don't know what that means. But peace, yes. Avatar, are you God? In meditation, have you ever seen yourself like a drop of water and seen multiple you in the cardinal directions? You go on for infinity. No, but I tell you where I have done that, is if you put two mirrors facing each other and put your head in the middle of it, you see yourself infinitely reflected, or you see your face infinitely reflected. Because yourself is one, but your face can be many. Do we each have a true self, or are we part of a larger, the true self? Good question, U.G. Lee. It's an amazing mystery, because it does feel like there is an individual entity, what the Vedic people call the Atman, the spark at the very center of our being, that when we are an individual self. But when you get there, what you realize is that in some extraordinary way, that the I am is a doorway. And deeper than the I am is the one self. Hence the expression, I am that I am. In other words, the great self. So in fact, when you go within there, when you go within right now, you focus, turn your attention within, there's nobody there. There's just awareness, right? There's nobody there. There's no wounded child under the stairs. There's no terrorized person. There's nothing. You are, though. But there's no way you are. And this is an extraordinary aspect, that you have the sense of being separate, an individual entity, the I am that you are, but actually that I am is a portal into the great oneness, the enlightened mind, the one enlightened mind, the one enlightened self. Myroslavata. Myroslavtata. I've been awakened. Have you? Well, the thing is this, it doesn't stop. A lot of people have experiences and they call it, I have an awakening, and it's wonderful. I'm so happy for you. But this is like, getting started. And that's a momentum that you're given that you need to invest in so that you can keep that going. Because there is no end to the glory of your awakening. You can wake up and up and up and up and more and more and more and more and more and more and more. And although reality is unchanging, your enjoyment of it is unending. So don't have it that I have awakened, full stop. Now, what's for tea? There's no full stop. There's no I have awakened. I am awakening. Or I am awake. But it's infinite. And see, multiple years have done that. I thought Artemis launched tomorrow. I don't know. There's people starving and they're going around the moon. And I can guarantee you that the real reason they're doing that is not for the benefit of us. It's so that they can take war into another theatre. Before long, they'll have laser beam machinery on the moon to fire down satellites and fire onto Earth. There'll be something. It won't be for us, though. It's just more nonsense. Do you believe reality is mostly perception based inside the mind of each person? Yes. But what perceives? This reality, your personal reality, and the conventional reality that you share, that's all perceived. Everybody gets it differently. But the question isn't whether that's how it is. The question is, what is the perceiver? Go the other way. Rather than come into form, go back. Who is perceiving? What is perceiving? If you were a doorway to what is perceiving, what happens when you go through your own door? If you were a doorway to what is perceiving everything, what happens when you go through your own door? Shall I tell you? You come into the enlightened mind, which is one. Good question, Sport. Joss Doppel. Few people know the study numbers that deep meditation can offset the energy of another person's. Another person's something. Few people know the study numbers that deep meditation can offset the energy of it. When you go into meditation in the sense that I'm talking about it, you leave the phenomenal world. You leave the world of powers, city powers. You leave the world of thought. You leave the world of creation, of things. And you go in the other direction to find out the witness. What is unchanging awareness? What is the absolute reality? All of these other things, numbers for this, numbers for that. I was reading about the Monroe Institute and how they've got numbers to remember, to to access your memory, numbers to codes to delete pain. All very interesting, but in my book, that is the minor mysteries. And what we want is the major mystery. What is the one major mystery? What is it? What is it? The truth, the absolute truth, the unchanging truth. That which holds all phenomena, space and time. What is it? And can we know it? And the answer is yes, we can. Kestis, talking about meditation, there's multiple ways to do it. Even walking in the forest, nature. Yeah, you can become present to life, but meditation, in the way that I'm talking about it, is a journey towards perfect concentration upon a perfect thing. But yeah, even in the forest, beautiful. But it's slightly different. It's slightly different. I went for a walk today after beautiful meditations. And then I went for a walk in the country. Came by this lake where there's carp and sat there for a bit. And it's so beautiful. Able to really see the glory in the creation without any filters over my eyes, just to see it directly by being present with it. Life, nature shares the same now. And if we look at it, it will bring us into recognition of the now, of our presence, because it exists as that. Amazing. Do you know about transcendental meditation? David Lynch got some great talks on that. Yeah. The Beatles also were taught that by the Maharishi. Awareness and consciousness. Yeah, they're two different things. Consciousness has to gather around something that is conscious. The I. But awareness, there's no I in awareness. Consciousness changes and shifts. High consciousness, low consciousness, and in deep dreamless sleep, consciousness disappears altogether. He lost consciousness. He gained consciousness. Awareness, though, is unmoving like the sky. So what happens is awareness crystallizes and into the Atman, into this spark, which empowers this avatar form. And within our mind, we have the gift of consciousness. And awareness looks through us as consciousness. And with our consciousness, we can direct our attention outward or anywhere. And then finally we realize, oh my God, I must bring my attention back in. And when you then finally bring your attention in and reconnect with awareness, then there is the great bliss. Bartholomew. The self is one, but the faces can be many. Very interesting. Yeah, that's right. The enlightened mind. You don't get enlightened, but you can go through your own portal into the enlightened mind. There is being. Bartholomew. So how do you step through the door? By reversing your attention, by recognizing that your power is that you can direct your attention. Mostly it gets stolen from you, right? Your attention. But you can consciously direct it. And throughout your life, you've been directing your attention with a purpose that you may not have been present to. But finally, by great good fortune, somebody says, or you read, or you realize, oh my God, I've been directing my attention out. Now I must turn it within. And you turn your attention within. And consciousness then meets awareness, which is one and unchanging. And then that is your freedom. Not judging the contraction of consciousness is kind of a focus in a way. Not judging the contraction of consciousness is a kind of a focus in a way. Every form, I mean, superconscious is not thinking every thought at the same time. Yeah, superconsciousness is pretty much the same as awareness. But the thing is this, that in a lot of books which have been translated, the people translating the books did not know the distinction between consciousness and awareness. And even in the current situations, people talking, New Age, whatever you want to call it, people don't really get the difference between consciousness and awareness. You had to have experienced it in order to get it. That's true. It's always a journey, awakening. Journey is still going. Yeah, as long as you're breathing, you've got a chance for more. If you get enlightened, you disappear. That's why, yeah. Because this thing that you're calling you is not you. It's only how you appear. How you appears is as this, as Timian. With his thoughts, with his psychological self, with his karma, with his drama. That's how he appears. It's not who he is, though. I was hoping, because I've seen this in meditation. Okay. Paradox is amazing. Yeah, a paradox appears to be a conflicting truth, two conflicting facts, if you like. But the truth of it is that what is true on one level doesn't necessarily have to be true on another level. The only thing that's true on all levels is absolute reality, awareness. The only thing that's true on all levels, the only thing that's true on all levels is unchanging awareness, which is the field of intelligence that runs everything from, how come molecules know how to get entangled, particles know how to get entangled? How come galaxies know how to spin? How come gravity knows how to be? How come babies know how to find their mum's tit? How come, caterpillars turn into butterflies? Because there's this unfathomable intelligence, this field of unfathomable intelligence that governs everything. You are good with English. Are you a Freemason? Well, like that, one follows from the other. You're good with English. Are you a Freemason? No, I'm not a Freemason. In fact, one time I was in this house and with a girlfriend, and with her family were there, and her extended family were there, and we had dinner, and it was all very nice. And that night I had a dream, and in the dream I saw the uncle who was staying in the house, and he's all dressed up in robes, and they marched past in my dream, and they were carrying banners with symbols on them and calling out strange biblical names. So in the morning at breakfast I said to him, I said, "You were busy last night." He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, you're a Mason, aren't you?" I said, "I saw you all dressed up in your paraphernalia shouting out these names." And he was very shocked that I'd seen it. But I'm not. I mean, superconsciousness is not thinking that, no, okay. I astro travel too. Yeah, astral travel is something that happens, but it's still in the matrix. Is it possible to use this information for the benefit of suffering people? Yeah, that's the whole point, Bartholomew. That is exactly the point. Use this information, process the information, turn it into knowledge. Having turned it into knowledge, practically unfold it for yourself. Believing it is not the same as knowing it, but you can know it. You can discover it, realize it for yourself, and it's essential that you do. Do not take anybody's word for it. The fact that you understand what is being said is not the same as knowing it. We don't believe, you don't have to. This is just saying there is the possibility of this awakening, of these truths for you. So crack on. And then when you have authentically realized it for yourself, share it. Queen of the Castle, when I'm connected to people spiritually, I travel to their place and I can find things in their home. Yeah, but that's what we call a minor mystery. You know, unusual, impressive, but not a significator of you having found the truth. You're awesome, dude. See ya, see ya. Queen of the Castle, meditation is different for everyone and can go as deep. It don't mean one is right and others aren't. No, but reality is something to be realized. And the realization of reality is the same because there's only one enlightened mind. And when you go through, up until you go through your own portal into the one enlightened mind, everything is different for everybody. But once you go through that portal, it's one and the same. The truth is the truth. It's not perspective based. It's not belief based. It's not got any filters on it. All of the filters were in this world. Everybody saw everything differently. But there is a major mystery and there are minor mysteries. The minor mysteries are all to do with life inside the matrix. Flying here, flying there, chakras, astral projection, teleportation, telekinesis. All of these things are minor powers and minor mysteries. It's all well and good. But the major mystery is, what is reality? Now, meditation, in the sense I'm talking about it, is how you perceive what is reality. Meditation can be used in all kinds of different ways and get all kinds of different results, I agree. But in the way I'm talking about it, it's for the perception of reality. Akagami, no shanks, Alamua solil Allah Sadi Muhammad. Okay. Lakhila alayla Muhammad alullah. Okay. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. I was reading the other day in Hadith number 3 from Al-Bukhari, and it was talking about how the Prophet, before the Archangel Gabriel came and gave him the first verse of the Quran, used to often and for a week at a time sit in silent meditation in the cave of Hira, which is about 3 miles from Mecca, which he was shown at the age of 3 by his grandfather. And it is said in this hadith that he was meditating upon the gnosis of Allah. Now, gnosis of Allah, it was the same as the gnosis of Timian, or the gnosis of Jesus, or the gnosis of you. There's one gnosis, one God, if you like, one gnosis. And that's what the Prophet was experiencing for days on end prior to the Archangel Gabriel coming and giving him the first verse of the Quran. You reminded me that, brother, field of awareness, consciousness, conscious consciousness levels. Yeah, there are levels of consciousness, but not levels of awareness. Fred Castro. If your brain gave you an answer, what are you without it? That's another supposition. That's what's called a supposition. Supposing that, da-da-da-da-da. And it's not helpful. It sounds clever, but it's kind of stupid. If a dog, it's like saying if a dog could dance, what music would it like? Suppose a dog could dance, what music would it like? And it doesn't help us at all, does it? Do you understand? It's a supposition. What we're looking for here is questions. Authentic, real questions about life. But if your brain gave you an answer, what are you without it? Exactly the same. Whether or not my brain gives answers, I am what I am. And what I am isn't the fact my brain can give answers. If Allah is real, what is Allah without us? That's another supposition. It starts with if, which is a suppose Allah is real. What is Allah without us? If Allah is real, there can't be any without him or it. Neil, Socrates, stop rage baiting me. I know something. Okay, Karl Marx lives. I see you flying by my telescope. What is ailing without Santa? What's your belief on dreams? My belief on dreams, Buzzer, is the same as it is on life, right? So sometimes, mostly, life is humdrum, right? Just humdrum, like a soap opera. And you could put a Tuesday after a Wednesday and it wouldn't really make that much difference. But sometimes, something happens in a day that is life-changing. And it's the same with dreams. Sometimes they're just a rehash. You're processing something. Sometimes you can't even relate to them at all. And sometimes they're a rehash, and sometimes they're meaningful. Same with life. Tracy, I love your lives. I always giggle with your awareness as it reminds me of my own. Good. Modai, that's called delusional. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Artemis 2 will become like the Challenger, an explosion in the sky. That's not very nice. Much love, true teacher. Nothing is real. We don't even touch stuff. Yeah, that's true. It's weird when you see that, right? What is real cannot have an edge, must be born of something real, can have no constituent parts, cannot change, and I think there's other things that constitute something real. But what we call reality is just appearance. Why don't we touch stuff? No. Because if you actually look at what is your hand, break it down, it's just particles of light. And if you look at the object that you're calling an object, if you look at it, just break it down, it's just particles of light too. It's not even an object. It doesn't have substantial reality. It's an appearance, like in a dream. In a dream, you could be picking up a diamond, and it would appear that the diamond was separate, and it would appear that the diamond was much harder than the flesh that was picking it up. And you'd marvel at it and think you're incredibly fortunate. But then in the morning when you wake up, oh no. The diamond and the flesh and the whole environment was made of the same stuff. It only appeared as a diamond, wasn't actually a diamond. Okay, I think that's it. Wonderful. Well, that was a quick one. Did I do them all? It's funny how the different lives, different waves of different people come, and they have like different questions. This is a good wave of people, in my opinion. How long have you been awake? Well, I did have a snooze this afternoon after my walk, to be honest. So about a few hours. All right, let's have some music. And this one's called At the Center. See if you can focus with me while this is, and see if you can focus with me and not blink. Open a moment. This is called At the Center, and it's by Timian, and it's available on all platforms. God willing, I'll be back here tomorrow at 1 p.m. and then again at 6 p.m. Okay, here we go. This is At the Center.
Stay close to your heart, my love. Breathe, restore, and return to this now again and again. Your life is a present, and you're at the center. Timeless and brilliant, empty and pure. Your life is a present, and you're at the center. Timeless and brilliant, empty and pure. Retrace your steps, return to source. Focus on the light within. Focus on the light within. All is well, the song the heart sings. Your life is the present, and you're at the center. Timeless and brilliant, empty and pure. Your life is the present, and you're at the center. Timeless and brilliant, empty and pure. All is well. 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 Your life is a present, and you're at the center. Timeless and brilliant, empty and pure. Your life is a present, and you're at the center. Timeless and brilliant, empty and pure. All is well. All is well. All is well. All is well. All is well.
Nice one. See you all tomorrow, God willing, at 1 p.m.